Well, hello, my YouTube friend. Today it is with a great pleasure, actually, that I'm gonna make this video for several reasons, and I really hope that I'm not gonna mess it as usual. Yes, a pleasure and a honor. A pleasure because I'm gonna discuss about a friend. I'm going to discuss also about a kind of success story like you can find only in the US, and I'm going to present you a stellar knife. So a lot of reason for me to be pleased and overwhelmed with the presentation of this new video. So we are talking here, of course, about Sebastjan Berenji for Borka Blades, and we are presenting the Stitch very last version made in the Marfioni facility. So yeah, they changed dramatically over the last year because actually the Stitch is a model that maybe was launched, I would say, maybe over a year and a half ago, something like that, maybe two, but no more than that. No, I would say a year and a half. So yeah, that's the newest one that I got directly from him during G8. So yeah, like I said, a word first about the maker. So Sebastjan Berenji, used Borka for the name of his blade, and Borka being his mother's name. His first and last name is Sebastjan Berenji. And we see more and more of his name actually on the version of the knives that he makes with Anthony Marfioni. So here is a guy that came from a war zone. Literally, I mean, he was born into war. That's what happened to him, and I can only imagine, we cannot imagine, but I can only guess the difficulty to be in a war, because we are lucky free men. Our generation is probably one of the few generation in mankind, that didn't know war, and hopefully we will not. Of course, you had some wars, and some soldiers in the United States were involved, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not like a war that came in your country, and that is something that just imagine what happened during September 11 and reproduce that during the day. I mean, again, like I said, it's something that we don't know, and hopefully we will never be able to know. So he come from those country, and he gets to United States, makes several little job, and eventually start making knives. And now, he started making knives, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, no more than that. And now you know the success, and he eventually even became this year a citizen of the United States of America. And for that, congratulations, Sebastjan, you did absolutely fantastic. Nothing that can happen can erase what you did. It's just, this story has to be said somehow when we speak about that guy, because it's not just a trendy maker of the day. It's not like that guy has an history, and I think that it was important for me to relate and to speak a little bit about that history. Not a lot of makers are in this situation, and like I said, if we want to speak about his knife, I think that it's good to know about the maker, and now we need to talk about that. So yeah, he started making knives. What the heck is that? The fly is bugging me. It's incredible. So yeah, he started making knives with fixed blade, and you know him basically with the fixed blades, and he was just doing better and better and better, and again in a very, very short amount of time he had this, I would say, tremendous success with those fixed blade. He worked for a while with John Gray, with whom I guess he learned a lot about making knives too, and he met Anthony Marfioni maybe a year and a half ago, and they started making one fixed blade, and it's kind of collaboration with a fixed blade. And along the way, they got closer and closer and closer. Last year, it was in discussion. They were in discussion of making some other collaboration. And eventually, he started making his first frame lock and the collaboration with Marfion. But a word about the frame lock, because he started making frame lock not that long ago, and if you check that design, maybe it will ring some bell with you, because it looks from distance a little bit like Dalibor, first handles, and it has a reason, because the first of the stitches that were made was not a stitch. I mean, it was a collaboration between Dalibor, who is a great friend of Sebastjan. Both of them are great friends and have also Slavic roots in common. So yeah, they made their first collaboration, and this knife is a kind of, an evolution of that actually collaboration with Dalibor. So yeah, he started making his own stitch as a custom maker on his own, and then those collaboration with Anthony Marfioni that you can appreciate. I mean, if you know the first stitch, you can appreciate the extraordinary difference that you have between those newest batch and the previous one. So I was expecting to get a stitch from him, but I wanted a special one. I wanted actually a piece like that. And again, if I had to draw in my mind the stitch that I would want, it would be exactly that. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't draw it any different than that. It has everything that I like, and I'm gonna talk about that. So yeah, I was waiting for the right one, and I got it. And for that also, Sebastjan, thank you so much, so much, so much. Because, a lot of things happened to that guy, coming from where he came to what he is now. So it's quite overwhelming. And you can tell when you look at him that he's changing, not changing in appearance only, because he has a lot of things to carry now on his shoulders. And I understand that it's really, really overwhelming. And yet, with all those things that can happen to him, he still finds a way to take care of his friends. And for that, again, really thank you so much, Sebastjan. So yeah, I was waiting for that one, and he provided, and I'm more than happy with that. So what do we have here? Yeah, a stitch. I mean, you all start to know them more and more, but I'm going to talk about this one in particular. So what we have here is a stitch with a finish that is incredible. Sebastjan himself says that he will never ever be able to reproduce that kind of finish on the handle. It has this, I don't know how you call that. I don't know how he got that finish even. It's a kind of orange peel with a kind of dual or triple anodization. And I hope that the lightning is enough for you to appreciate that. You have mainly some bronze, but with some other lightning it will become more of a purple. It's just an incredible finish, and it brings some kind of grip that is very, very, very interesting. Incredible. I mean, that finish is just insane for me, and the fact that is unique and he cannot, in his word, he cannot reproduce that, brings even more value for me in that knife. Very nice clip. I like the fact that, some contrast, with the cut here, the hardware. It brings some contrast, with some, a plain and simple finish with this, finish on the handle. I really, really like that. So, very, very special one. No backspacer, but I absolutely adore the hardware. Look at the contouring that he gets. I mean, of course, he's got now a way to work with all the machines in, like I said, the Morphion facility, but the result is just incredible. The mechanics evolved dramatically. The action is superb. The engagement is fantastic. It's rock solid. No movement whatsoever. No stiffness on the lock. Look at that. Here are the detent. Boom, and it's spot on, right in the middle. So the action on those pure customs are incredible. What I like also about the knife is the blade, actually. The blade evolved. He started first with a one grind, and with, a regular blade, a satin blade, and then I guess during the year he went with this top swedge or top grind. I would call it. It's more than a swedge, it's a top grind, and I loved it. I mean, honestly, I talked about that with him. And again, there is no accounting for taste. So the first grind, I liked it, but not as much as this one. So when he made this top grind, I was drawn into it, and I said, "Oh man, I really need to get those stitches now. It's just incredible." So I was really, really happy to get that grind. Actually, the fact that he put the logo here, which is a very nice logo, but a small one on top grind, is really also something that I appreciate very, very much. And on that one, I've got to get a Senmai, which is, to me, probably one of the material that I like the most. And that Senmai is Elmax core, which is, I don't know if you know it, but only made for Tony Marfion. I mean, Chad Nichols does the Elmax Senmai only for Tony Marfion, and now, of course, Sebo can use them either. So it has a finish that is very particular. You know, usually you're gonna get like either very dark finish on the core or very satin, very light one. This one is just in between, and the Damascus is very shiny there. This finish, honestly, is something that I've never seen, and again, something very unique, and uniqueness is something that I crave very much so. So that right there is just, to me, incredible. Another thing that I like is that he actually, and I guess, and I think, sorry, I'm not guessing, that it's the only one like that, because I've saw a couple of others with Senmai, but usually the flat on the other one were like plain flat. I cannot be happier than that. Maybe the other one didn't notice that, but this one has actually the kind of, I would call it a rock pattern. I mean, that's a signature pattern that he does on all his satin blade. That is, you know, when you look at the Borka blade, you're going to expect to have this kind of rock pattern at some point on the flat or somewhere. It's a kind of signature for Sebo, and I couldn't be happier than that, because I get it here on my flat, which is, to me, absolutely incredible. Look at the beauty of that blade, and the evenness of the pattern is just phenomenal. That evenness, I got it only probably with my Fury from Frank Fisher. It's really unlikely to have a Senmai with such a perfect pattern like that. I am more than pleased with that blade. So yeah, just a great knife, not a user for me, and I didn't want it like that, actually, because I consider that knife to be a little bit too big for my taste. That's why I didn't want, by no means, to get an EDC version, I would say, of the knife, because I'm more, like you know, I am more into, you know, smaller knives now, and this one would be way too big to be a user for me. But for some of you, that would be just a great thruster, because look at that, it's pointy and it's sharp as hell. So that's a slicer. I mean, you have all this length of the blade that you can use to slice, and believe me, that's laser sharp. It cannot be sharper than that. That's scary sharp. I'm not gonna test it, or yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not gonna shave my hair today. No. So yeah, a very nice slicer, very nice thruster. The tip, because of the new grind, is a little bit thinner, so you wouldn't want to pry with that, of course. But again, for those of you who will have an EDC version, that can be definitely a great EDC because of the curvature of the handle. It's really comfortable in the hand, very comfortable, no hot spot whatsoever. And you have a front choil here with this kind of very nice groove here that can make for a very nice, you know, front forward, you know, a grip like that. Here it's very secured with the thumb, and here you have the front choil. So yeah, you can definitely, most definitely use it as an EDC. Don't get me wrong. It's just, to me, the size of it is a little bit too big for me. That's why I didn't want one with an EDC version. I wanted one that I could fondle, and man, is that one fondable. I don't know if it's even English. But that's a great place. That's a great piece to fondle. And you know what? We are heading to the 15 minutes. I hope that I was able to speak enough my heart about that maker and that friend that I really adore. I hope that it will keep on growing and chill and be you know, like I said, there's probably too much for him the last year. I really hope that he will be able to, you know, to get that new fame and start, you know, growing and being the kind man that he is. That's the best of the things that I can hope for him. And also for sure, I'll end up that video by thanking him so very much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sebo. It was a pleasure meeting you and pleasure getting that knife from you. Bye-bye, my friends. It was a pleasure.